Let's welcome Ranking Member of House Natural Resources, Congressman Bruce Westerman, along with former White House Council of Economic Advisors, Acting Chairman Thomas Phillipson. Good to have you both with us. Congressman, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. And the president is feeling certainly emboldened, it seems, after some of the midterm races. The results have come in, even though we're waiting to still find out exactly how this all shakes out. The Democrats didn't lose as badly as they were expected to. And so he's doubling down on climate change and spending, and now acknowledging that the Inflation Reduction Act really isn't going to necessarily do much for inflation, but push his climate change agenda, his green energy policies. And there's a lot of people out there right now who are suffering as a result of what we're seeing. 7.7% inflation is better than where we were, but we're still not where we need to be.
Yeah, well, good afternoon, good evening. And first off, I want to express my appreciation to all the veterans out there on Veterans Day, and heartfelt thank you for their sacrifice and service. And, you know, what President Biden is saying is he's telling the truth. The Inflation Reduction Act was not about reducing inflation. It was about spending more money on giveaways for his Green New Deal plan. And, you know, I can't figure out why he's excited about losing the House, but I'm confident we're going to win the House, and he's going to face a new reality when he comes back to Washington and when the new Congress starts in January.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And the expectation is that there will be change in Washington, and that it seems like he's almost a little bit in denial at the moment, but perhaps we'll have to change his tune. Having said that, Thomas, I want to come to you and read a tweet from the president. This is from the President Biden at POTUS account. It says, "It's going to take time to get inflation back to normal levels." And I highlight there, it's going to take time. And we could see setbacks along the way. But with gas prices decreasing, grocery store costs easing, and millions saving on health insurance, we're keeping at it to get families help with the cost of living. The problem here is that nobody I speak to says that they see prices going down at the grocery store. And that's the #1 concern of voters who are leaving the polls on Tuesday. And having said that, gas prices are down, but they're, you know, from historic highs, but they're poised to rise again. And so people are very worried about what's, you know, life going to feel like for them in the next few months. When he says it's going to take time, that's a concern to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the president, I mean, I'm glad he's working on it because he caused it, so that would be very useful if he attacked it going in the right direction. I think this is going to be, it turns out this looks like it's going to be a deflationary midterm, in the sense that if Republicans get the House and potentially also the Senate, then we've seen the end of this fiscal nightmare, which has caused this problem to start with, on top of the Fed monetizing all that spending. There's a caveat to that, which is because the White House is losing the fiscal purse, it's going to basically go very heavy on regulations. And the regulations has been very sort of clamping down on supply, particularly in energy, obviously, but also in other sectors. So once you clamp down on supply, that's going to be upward pressure on prices. But the upward pressure on prices from increased fiscal spending and raising demand, I think we're going to have to, we have seen an end to, thankfully.
And we've got a soundbite from the president addressing inflation again. There's this different point that I want to make here, so let's listen to this one.
It's going to take time to implement our entire economic agenda, which we already passed, and for folks to feel it in their day-to-day lives. But I think folks are going to see it in the next few months.
Congressman, he's been saying this for months and months now. And, you know, we've heard from the Federal Reserve at first that inflation was transitory and it was going to go away. Well, it never did. Now it's embedded in the economy and interest rates are going up. And so it's really difficult to listen to the White House and the administration with their messaging on this when you're going to the grocery store and you're seeing food prices and food inflation right at your kitchen table. Eggs are up 43%, butter's up 33%. Those are some of the big ones. Flour, 25%. Milk, 14.5%. So we're talking about very, very basic kitchen table items. We're not seeing a decline in prices right now. And he keeps saying it's coming, I promise. But where is it?
Yeah, and Jackie, he again spoke truth when he said we're feeling the effects of his economic policy. Those are the effects you just read about increasing food prices, increasing gas prices. You know, the Fed has raised interest rates, and we got a slight drop in inflation. But look what it's done to the housing market and the construction market. Look at the layoffs in the tech companies. we're definitely feeling the effects of Biden's economy, and they're not good. And I don't see anything on the horizon that's going to make that any better. What he's done to energy in this country affects all different industries. It's one reason food prices are so high. And here he is again, looking other places in the world for energy, talking about all the money we're going to spend on the green economy. And he's not paying attention to the problems here at home that he created.
Yeah, and he's looking to Saudi Arabia to try to solve the oil woes, continuing to draw down from the SPR and doubling down on this over-regulated energy industry policy that's not helping United States producers ramp up production. That is what would bring inflation down, because until we get those costs under control, they touch everything. Having said that, I just have one more minute left with both of you. Thomas, I want to come to you because obviously there is a meeting planned with President Xi of China, many speculating on what topics will be covered in that meeting. What are your expectations?
Well, it sounds like it's not so much economic issues that are coming up as Taiwan, human rights, etc. So I think there's some economic issue, which is that we still have not sort of disciplined China to follow through on technology transfer, forced technology transfer, intellectual property issues, and that's on the table. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of economics on the main table.
Yeah, and we'll be watching very closely and, of course, bringing everybody the latest. Great to see you both, Congressman Bruce Westerman and Thomas Phillipson. Have a great weekend, gentlemen.